This is Logan. He made $150,000 on Kickstarter for a card game called Whisker Wars. Even crazier is that this was his first game launch. Logan's day job, he works at LEGO, and his two co-founders, Sean and Mike, work in film and TV. Whisker Wars was just a side project, and still, they were able to launch a game that made $37,000 on the first day.
We were all on that call together watching the number tick up way faster than we anticipated it ticking up.
Logan and his partners started this during COVID as a makeshift D&D game built from spare board game pieces. Nothing about this screamed six-figure Kickstarter, but they figured it out step by step. In this video, they break down the $1 VIP reservation strategy that made back their entire ad spend in minutes, how meme-styled ads outperformed every traditional ad format they tested, and why the ads that worked in the pre-launch completely tanked during the live campaign, and what they switched to.
When the campaign was actually live, our humor posts totally tanked, like fell off hard. That's when we switched over to
I'll also be giving a free audiobook copy of my best-selling book, Crowdfunded, that goes even deeper into a lot of these strategies, but more on that later. I'm Mark from LaunchBoom. Let's get into it. Before Whisker Wars raised $150,000 on Kickstarter, this whole thing started the way a lot of great board games do, wanting to play a game they couldn't find anywhere else. It was 2020 peak COVID, and Logan's two co-founders, Mike and Sean, both worked in film and TV in Brooklyn. The pandemic and the writer's strike left them with a lot of free time, and all they really wanted to do was play Dungeons and Dragons. Problem was, they couldn't find a group.
They both wanted to play D&D, couldn't find a play group. They started playing around with the idea of taking little pieces from board games they have, and they started crafting this D&D light experience.
So they started building their own game from scratch, using spare board game pieces, random props from film sets, whatever they had lying around. In that first version, it was ambitious to say the least.
The first time I played it, it took 8 hours to complete the game. But even in playing that 8-hour version of that prototype of that game, I was like, you guys really have something here.
Logan saw the potential in the mechanics and encouraged them to keep refining it. A few months later, Mike and Sean brought him on officially. Logan had a business degree, was working in supply chain, actually at LEGO, so he was the perfect person to handle the operational side. To get off the ground, they did something not a lot of Kickstarter creators do. They launched a GoFundMe.
We raised, I think, just over $10,000 on the GoFundMe. That was like all friends, family.
That $10,000 became their seed money, LLC formation, design, development, art. But the real turning point came when they attended PAX Unplugged and talked to industry veterans who gave them a reality check.
We left that convention and immediately knew this big D&D light game couldn't be our first game. We needed to go smaller. We needed something that where we could learn the process.
So on that car ride home from that convention, they came up with Whisker Wars, a smaller, self-contained card battler that would let them learn the ropes of Kickstarter, manufacturing, and marketing without betting everything on a massive game. Smart move, and that decision is exactly what led to the results that we're about to break down. So here's what everyone wants to know. How do three first-time creators with no audience and no ad experience raise $37,000 on day one? Well, it starts with something Logan's team learned early. Kickstarter doesn't work the way it used to.
The way the platform works today, it's a lot more you have to do the work in the pre-launch and bring people to your page to give it that initial lift.
This is a huge insight. The build it and they will come era of Kickstarter is over. You need to bring your own audience on day one to trigger the organic algorithm. And the way Logan's team did that was by using our VIP reservation system. Now, their offer was simple. Put down $1 before the campaign goes live, and you'll get the Whisker Wars Dark Wilds mini expansion pack, which was a 10-card pack with exclusive art added to your pledge on Kickstarter when you back the campaign. If you didn't reserve early, that same pack could cost $7 as an add-on.
That was so valuable to us because we had those numbers going in and that sense of commitment from potential backers going in. It really helped us project a lot better, which I think was essential to the process.
Having people put down real money, even if it's just $1, does two things. First, it tells you who your superfans are. And second, it lets you forecast your launch with actual data. And the numbers tell the story. They spent $14,800 on pre-launch ads over 6 months. That built a list of 4,400 emails, with 1,200 of those being $down VIPs.
But we had a good enough conversion that 50% of those showed up day one, and I think made us all our pre-launch money back and more just on the first day.
They went on to make back a lot more than just their pre-launch investment, making $48,510 in total revenue directly from their email list. That's the power of building a committed audience before you launch, not after. Now let's talk about how they actually built that audience, because the ad strategy is where things get really interesting. And honestly, it's probably not what you'd expect. Because when Logan started running ads, this was his first time ever managing a meta campaign, and the results weren't really going that good at the beginning.
Those first 2 weeks, I spent like 3,000 of that 14,000 that I spent over this for the whole 6 months. So it was like a huge chunk right off the bat. I was like, I don't think I'm doing this right.
This happens sometimes. When you start running ads for the very first time, you may burn through some of your budget where nothing's really clicking and you're testing all different types of things. But here's what Logan and his team figured out. The standard ad creative that works for most board games, box art on a clean background, product shots, this just wasn't landing for Whisker Wars, even though everyone loved the art. So one night, Logan was messing around in Photoshop and had an idea.
I started running an ad that we called If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, except it was If You Give a Mouse a Sword. And it just had our mousenary and it was like the book cover, but we had changed cookie to sword.
That one funny Photoshop experiment started outperforming everything. So they leaned into it. They created fake in-universe character tweets, and it did even better. So they went even further.
We made an ad set that was a carbon copy of that, except it was all Whisker Wars jokes, all Whisker Wars content. That's the one that blew up. So then we essentially switched all our ad sets to just like humor and jokes.
The meme carousel format where you swipe through a series of jokes was their top performer. And the reason it works so well comes down to engagement signals. When people pause on your ad, swipe through a carousel, comment, or share it with friends, Meta's algorithm sees all of that activity and rewards you with more distribution and lower costs. All right, so meme ads dominated pre-launch, but when the Kickstarter campaign actually went live, everything changed.
When the campaign was actually live, our humor posts totally tanked. But that's when we switched over to like actual product-based ads again.
Those humor ads that crushed it in pre-launch completely fell off once the campaign was live. And Logan has a really smart theory about why.
Because the humor ads don't actually tie into a feasible product to buy, they're great for generating hype. But as soon as you like have the product available and the click-through link takes you to Kickstarter rather than a pre-launch page, it's more of a disconnect from ad to product.
I think this is a really important lesson. During pre-launch, the call to action is soft. Sign up, join the list, put down $1. Humor works perfectly for that because you're building a world and generating curiosity. But once the campaign is live, you're asking people to spend $50 to $100. They need to see the actual product. They need to understand what they're buying. So the Glasshouse team pivoted immediately. They shifted their ad spend to product-focused creative, leaning heavily into remarketing, targeting all those VIPs and email subscribers who already knew their brand, and deployed influencer content for social proof. This is how they were able to keep momentum during the entire campaign. One of my favorite questions to ask successful creators is, what advice would you give to someone just starting out?
Number one is always going to be for us, go out and ask the questions, because it's a huge part of any learning process. But we read Jamie's book, I read your book. We went to conventions, we asked everyone there. We were going booth to booth being like, hi, we're new publishers and we want this. And some people are gonna be like, oh, we don't really have time for this. But I wanna say like 90% of people were very open to helping us out.
Logan is proof that you don't need to quit your job or have years of marketing experience to run a 6-figure Kickstarter campaign. They went from a makeshift D&D game played with spare board game pieces to raising $150,000 on Kickstarter by building a committed VIP audience, testing unconventional ad creative until they found what worked, and never being afraid to ask for help. Now remember that free audiobook copy of crowdfunding I mentioned? Well, it breaks down the entire pre-launch strategy we use with Logan's team and thousands of other product creators, from building your VIP list to running your first ad campaign. Just click the link in the description below to claim your free audiobook copy. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories like this. All right, everyone, I'll see you in the next one.